Liam Arkwright had always believed that the universe was far too big for one person to understand, but he still tried every day. As a human engineer working with interstellar technology, he had fixed everything from broken mining drones to damaged starship engines. But nothing in all his travels prepared him for the moment he stepped onto the shining homeworld station of the Drakon Imperium, a place made of silver, crystal, and living light. The station was huge, so huge that Earth cities could fit inside it. The ceilings rose like mountains. The halls glowed softly, as if the light itself respected the ancient dragon rulers who lived here. Liam looked around with wide eyes, feeling very small but also very excited. After all, not many humans were invited to the Drakon capital. The dragons valued their culture, their privacy, and their traditions deeply. Outsiders were rare. Today, Liam was here as part of a peaceful exchange between their species. A simple goal: learn from each other, understand each other, build trust. At least, that was what the diplomats said. Liam only knew two things for sure. Dragons were brilliant, and dragons did not ask for help lightly. He followed a Drakon guide through gleaming corridors that curved like flowing rivers. The guide, a tall dragon in a humanoid form, moved with quiet elegance. His scales were dark blue, polished like gemstones. "You must stay close," the guide reminded Liam gently. "Some areas of the palace are not open to visitors." "I understand," Liam replied with a polite smile. "I'll be careful." He meant it. Humans had only been allies with dragons for a short time, and he did not want to accidentally break any rule. He respected the Drakon culture and wanted to make a good impression. But as they continued walking, something caught Liam's attention. A faint sound, soft at first, like a hiccup. Then a quiet whimper. Then a small, trembling cry. Liam paused. "Is everything all right?" he asked. The guide turned back. "You must stay with," but Liam had already heard it again. This time, sharper, sadder, and full of tiny, shaking breaths. A child was crying. That was something Liam could never ignore. The guide opened his mouth to protest, but Liam stepped toward the sound. Not running, just walking with purpose, following the soft echo that tugged at his heart. He reached a doorway glowing with warm golden light. The air smelled faintly of sweet herbs. He glanced back at the guide, who looked alarmed. "Humyn," the guide said firmly. "You cannot." But it was too late. Inside the room was something Liam had never expected to see. A dragon hatchling. Small by dragon standards, maybe the size of a large dog, but still covered in delicate silver scales that shimmered like morning frost. Its wings were tiny and soft, not yet strong enough for flight. It sat on a smooth crystal floor, tail curled around itself, crying quietly. The sound was heartbreaking. Next to the hatchling lay a small toy, an intricate object made of crystal and metal. It looked cracked, the inner light flickering weakly. Liam's heart clenched. He didn't see danger. He didn't see royal tradition. He saw a child upset because something precious was broken. Before he realized it, he had stepped inside. The caretakers in the room, two elegant dragons in humanoid shape, turned toward him at once. Their wings flared slightly in surprise. "You cannot be here," one whispered. "The hatchling hall is sacred," the other warned. Liam froze. He had not meant to break a rule. His hands lifted instinctively in apology. But then the hatchling let out a tiny, shaking cry again. And Liam's heart overruled his fear. "I'm sorry," he said softly. "But the little one is upset." "Is the toy broken?" The caretakers exchanged troubled looks. Their expressions were not angry, just shocked. They did not know how to respond to a human speaking so gently to a noble hatchling. The guide finally caught up and whispered urgently, "Liam, turn back. This place is..." But Liam's attention was already on the toy. He took a slow step closer, careful not to frighten the hatchling. "Hey, little one," he said gently. "Are you hurt?" The hatchling sniffled, shaking its head. It pushed the broken toy toward him with a tiny claw. The gesture was hesitant, but hopeful. The caretakers inhaled sharply. "That is an honor," one murmured. "No outsider has ever..." the other began. Liam didn't hear the rest. He knelt on one knee, slowly, making himself smaller so the hatchling wouldn't feel threatened. The floor felt warm beneath him. He studied the toy. It was a crystalline resonance device, something that produced gentle lights and melodies for young dragons. But one part of the core had cracked, and the energy inside was unstable. "Easy fix," he whispered. He opened his small engineer toolkit, a simple set of handheld tools he always carried. Most of them were nothing special, but in the right hands, even simple tools could solve complicated problems. He gently touched the toy, adjusting a loose connection. The hatchling watched him with wide, shining eyes, tears still clinging to its lashes. "You like this toy a lot, don't you?" Liam asked softly. The hatchling gave a small chirp, sad but hopeful. Liam smiled. "Then let's make it good as new." The caretakers stepped closer, whispering to each other in disbelief. The guide stood at the doorway, unsure whether to stop Liam or let the moment continue. His eyes softened slightly, as if he, too, was curious to see what would happen. Liam worked slowly and calmly. He didn't rush. He didn't panic. He simply focused on helping the crying child in front of him. With gentle hands, he repaired the cracked crystal using a stabilizing band and adjusted the inner circuits. He hummed a little tune while working, not realizing dragons could hear subtle music far better than humans. The hatchling's ears perked up at the sound. After a few more adjustments, the toy sparkled with new light. A soft melody flowed out, gentle and warm. The hatchling gasped. It chirped excitedly and bounced forward, its little wings fluttering. It nudged Liam's hand gratefully. Liam laughed quietly, relieved. "There you go," he said. "Good as new." The caretakers stared. The guide stared. Even the air felt still, as if the palace itself was surprised. Liam stood up slowly. "Sorry if I caused trouble. I just couldn't ignore a crying child." He didn't know that above the nursery, behind a nearly invisible crystal veil, an enormous golden figure watched silently. The dragon Emperor Zevrith, his wings folded neatly behind him, his scales glowing like suns. His eyes, deep, ancient, full of wisdom, were focused entirely on the human, kneeling beside the hatchling. The Emperor had witnessed every moment. He had seen the human ignore fear. He had seen him show kindness. He had seen him fix a toy that even skilled Dracon technicians struggled to repair. And he had seen the most shocking moment of all. The hatchling, a child of the royal line, had nuzzled the human in gratitude. Such trust was not given easily, not by dragons, and never to an outsider. The Emperor's gaze softened. "Interesting," he murmured to himself. "Very interesting indeed." Liam, unaware of the ancient eyes watching him, simply smiled at the hatchling and wiped a tear from its cheek with gentle care. He had no idea that this small act of kindness would change the future of two species. He had no idea that the Dragon Emperor now wished to meet him. And he had no idea that the simple choice to help a crying child would soon become a story that echoed across the stars. The golden lights of the hatchling hall dimmed slightly as Liam finished repairing the toy. The soft melody from the crystal device filled the room with a gentle harmony, almost like a lullaby floating in the warm air. The hatchling's small silver wings fluttered with joy, and for the first time since Liam had entered the hall, the little creature wasn't crying. Liam smiled quietly, feeling a wave of relief. Helping people, no matter what species they were, always made him feel warm inside. He stood up slowly so the hatchling wouldn't get scared, and gave a small bow toward the caretakers, hoping it would show respect. But the caretakers still looked stunned. The first caretaker whispered, "He fixed it. Just like that." The second murmured, "And without harming the resonance core." The guide, still standing near the doorway, rubbed his forehead as if trying to process what he had just witnessed. "Liam," he finally said, "humans do not simply repair Dracon resonance devices. These toys are crafted by specialists with decades of study." "I just tightened the stabilizer threads," Liam replied, a bit confused. "It wasn't too hard." The guide blinked at him. "It was not supposed to be easy." The hatchling chirped happily and nudged Liam's leg again, its small scaled forehead lightly tapping him. This single action shocked the entire room. Even dragons from noble lines rarely touched visitors, and hatchlings were known to be shy, especially around outsiders. The caretakers gasped softly, wings twitching in disbelief. "Why is it doing that?" Liam asked, gently kneeling again so he wouldn't tower over the little creature. The first caretaker answered quietly, "Hatchlings show gratitude this way. They trust who they touch." Liam blinked. He had grown up fixing things for neighborhood kids, but he had never imagined that a baby dragon would one day thank him in the same way. "Well," he said softly, patting the hatchling's head with great care. "You're welcome." The hatchling let out a small trill of happiness, a sound like a sparkling chime. But while the scene looked warm and peaceful, there was a growing tension in the air. The caretakers exchanged glances filled with worry. The guide looked as if he didn't know whether to congratulate Liam or drag him out to avoid further surprise. The second caretaker finally spoke. "Humyn, you do not understand what you have done." Liam tilted his head. "Did I mess up? I'm really sorry if I—" "No," the caretaker interrupted. "You did not mess up. In truth, you did something remarkable. Too remarkable." The guide stepped forward, lowering his voice. "Liam, you entered a sacred hall. You interacted with a royal hatchling. You repaired an item that even our experts struggle with. And now the hatchling has marked you as a friend." Liam felt confused. He hadn't meant to cause trouble. He just wanted to help a crying child. "Should I leave?" he asked carefully. Before the guide could answer, the air around them shifted. A light breeze flowed through the hall, even though no windows were open. The caretakers straightened at once. Their wings folded, respectfully. Their expressions turned serious. Someone was approaching. Liam felt a strange warmth move through the air, almost like a comforting presence. But he could also sense power behind it. Very old, very strong power. The guide whispered urgently, "Do not move. Stand still. Show respect." Liam obeyed immediately. The soft glow of the hall brightened, forming a faint silhouette in the central chamber. At first, Liam thought it was another caretaker. But the aura around the figure was too strong, too commanding. Slowly, the glowing shape settled into a clear form. A tall dragon in humanoid shape, with scales the color of polished gold. His eyes were bright like twin suns. His voice, when he spoke, was calm yet powerful enough to make the air vibrate. "I have seen enough." The caretakers bowed deeply. The guide fell to one knee. Liam's heart froze, because even though he had never seen him before, he knew exactly who stood in the room. The Dragon Emperor Zevrath, ruler of the Drakon Imperium. Guardian of ancient traditions. A being respected across the galaxy, and he had just watched Liam fix a toy. Liam swallowed hard. He had no idea whether he should bow, kneel, or simply faint. He chose something in between, a respectful half-bow that hopefully didn't look foolish. "Your Majesty," he said carefully. The Emperor studied him with an unreadable expression. His golden eyes moved from Liam to the toy, then to the delighted hatchling, still playing with it. "So," the Emperor began, "you are the human who entered the hatchling hall." His tone was not angry, not cold, just thoughtful. "Yes, Your Majesty," Liam replied softly. "I'm very sorry if I broke any rules. I only wanted to help the child." The Emperor tilted his head slightly, as if the answer intrigued him. "You helped without hesitation," he said. "Even though you knew this hall was not yours to enter." Liam nodded slowly. The hatchling was crying. "I couldn't just walk away." The Emperor's eyes softened, just a little. "And you repaired the resonance toy," he continued, using only simple human tools. Liam rubbed the back of his neck, suddenly shy. "It was cracked, but not beyond saving. I just adjusted the energy pathways." The caretakers stared. The guide blinked. The Emperor did not move, but his aura changed gentler, warmer. The Golden Ruler stepped closer. His presence felt vast, but not threatening. Instead, Liam felt as if he was being quietly judged, not for wrongdoing, but for character. The Emperor finally asked, "Tell me, human engineer, why did you help the hatchling?" Liam didn't need to think. Because someone was crying, he said simply. Anyone would help. And even if they wouldn't, I should. The room fell silent. The caretaker's eyes widened. The guide inhaled sharply. Even the hatchling paused, its happy chirping to look up at Liam. The Emperor regarded him for several long moments, as though weighing the truth of his words. Dragons valued strength, discipline, and skill. But kindness, gentle kindness, was something different, something rare, something powerful. After a long pause, the Emperor spoke again, his voice soft but resonant. You acted without fear. You showed compassion where others showed hesitation. You offered skill without expecting reward. His eyes glowed slightly. And you comforted one of our youngest with a calm heart. Liam felt a little embarrassed, but he held still. The Emperor continued. Humanity surprises me more each year. And today, you have surprised me greatly. He looked down at the hatchling, who sprang up and flapped its tiny wings in excitement when it felt the Emperor's gaze. The Emperor smiled softly, a rare expression. Little one, he said. You have chosen your friend well. The hatchling chirped happily and bounded toward Liam again. Liam's heart warmed instantly. But all warmth vanished the next second, when the Emperor said, Human engineer Liam Arkwright, you will accompany me. The guide looked ready to faint. The caretakers stared in disbelief. Liam blinked. Accompany you, Your Majesty? Where? The Emperor's eyes glimmered with interest. To the Imperial Chamber, he replied. We have matters to discuss. Liam felt his stomach drop. This definitely sounded serious, but the Emperor's voice held no anger. Only curiosity. You helped a hatchling in its moment of distress, the Emperor said. Now I wish to understand you better. Liam took a deep breath, nodded, and followed the golden ruler. As he left the hall, the hatchling chirped at him happily, waving a small wing. Liam waved back. He had no idea what awaited him in the Imperial Chamber, but one thing was certain. A simple act of kindness had changed everything. Liam followed the Dragon Emperor through wide crystal corridors that shimmered like starlight. His steps were quiet, almost too quiet, because his heart was beating so loudly in his chest that he worried someone might hear it. He still could not believe what had happened. A few minutes ago, he was repairing a toy for a crying hatchling. Now he was walking behind the ruler of one of the strongest civilizations in the galaxy. The Emperor walked gracefully, each step calm and controlled. Even in humanoid form, he radiated power. His golden scales reflected the hallway, lights like soft sunlight. When he moved, the air seemed to bend around him. Liam swallowed nervously. He had no idea what the Emperor wanted, or why someone as important as him would take interest in a simple human engineer. The guide and caretakers had stayed behind, leaving Liam alone with the Emperor and two silent Imperial guards. The guards were tall dragons in humanoid shape, with armor made of shining plates that looked stronger than any metal Liam had ever seen. They marched without a sound. Liam kept his eyes forward, trying not to look too anxious. Finally, the Emperor spoke. You seem uneasy, Liam Arkwright. Liam nearly stumbled. He slowly nodded. A little, Your Majesty. Humans usually don't have conversations with emperors. The Emperor's lips curved into a small, gentle smile. And dragons do not often speak with those who enter a sacred nursery without permission. Yet, here we are. Liam felt heat rush to his face. I'm very sorry about that. I really didn't mean to break any rule. I just heard crying and, I know. The Emperor interrupted softly. I saw everything. Liam blinked. You saw all of it? Yes. I watch over the hatchlings through the crystal veil. It allows me to observe without disturbing them. Today, I witnessed something I had never expected. Liam looked down, unsure how to reply, but the Emperor continued walking. As they reached a large circular door, it opened by itself, revealing a huge chamber filled with warm golden light. The room was beautifully crafted, tall pillars shaped like twisting dragons, a high ceiling painted with ancient stories, and a soft floor made from glowing tiles. At the center stood a wide, open platform surrounded by floating spheres of light. It was the Emperor's private council platform, usually reserved only for high-ranking dragons. The guards stayed at the entrance. The Emperor motioned for Liam to step forward. "Come," he said. "Sit with me." There were no chairs. Dragons did not need them often, but the platform softened beneath Liam as he sat, forming a gentle cushion of energy. The Emperor sat opposite him, folding his hands calmly. For a moment, neither of them spoke. Then the Emperor asked, "Do you know why I brought you here?" Liam shook his head honestly. "No, Your Majesty." The Emperor studied him with thoughtful golden eyes. "Tell me again, in your own words, why did you help the hatchling?" Liam took a slow breath. His answer had not changed since the first time. "Because someone was crying," he said simply. "And because I could fix the problem." The Emperor nodded slightly. "You did not consider politics. You did not think of consequences. You did not calculate benefit or danger." Liam blinked. "Should I have?" The Emperor smiled gently. "Most beings would have. Even many dragons would hesitate before entering a sacred hall, uninvited." Liam looked a little embarrassed. "I wasn't trying to be brave or anything. I just couldn't ignore a child who needed help." The Emperor leaned back slightly, impressed by the sincerity in Liam's voice. "For dragons," he began, "strength is a core value. We respect power, wisdom, discipline. But compassion is something we speak of far less. It is not that dragons lack kindness. It is simply not our first instinct." He paused, letting his words settle. "You help the hatchling not out of duty or reward, but out of natural kindness. That is powerful. That is rare. And that is why I wanted to speak with you." Liam's eyes widened. He had never thought kindness was anything special. His parents had taught him to help others whenever he could. That was normal to him. The Emperor continued, "Tell me about humans. Are all your people like this?" Liam shook his head quickly. "No, Your Majesty. Not all. Humans can be brave, selfish, clever, stubborn. We have all kinds, but a lot of us try to help when we can. We try to make things better, piece by piece." "Piece by piece," the Emperor repeated softly. "Just as you repaired the toy." Liam nodded. "Yes. Even small repairs can make a big difference." The Emperor looked thoughtful. "Your tools were simple, yet you mended something our own craftsmen struggle with. How is that possible?" Liam shrugged shyly. "I just understand how things fit together. I've fixed machines since I was a kid. Sometimes I can see what's wrong even before opening something." The Emperor gave a low hum of approval. "A gift, then?" "I guess so," Liam said quietly. "But it doesn't feel special. I just do what I can." The Emperor's eyes softened further. "That humility," he said, "is also rare." He stood up slowly, his long golden robe flowing like warm sunlight. "Rise, Liam." Liam stood at once. The Emperor circled him thoughtfully, not in a judging way, but in a curious, almost protective manner. "You showed courage without aggression," the Emperor said. "You showed skill without pride. You showed care without hesitation." He stopped in front of Liam, his golden gaze warm but powerful. "I ask you now, Liam Arkwright, will you help the Draken Imperium again?" Liam blinked. "Of course, if I can." The Emperor nodded. "Good. Because I have a proposal." A soft breeze moved through the chamber as the floating spheres of light brightened. "You repaired more than a toy today," the Emperor said. "You repaired a misunderstanding between our species." Liam wasn't sure what that meant, but he listened carefully. "Many dragons believe humans are weak," the Emperor continued. "Fragile, unremarkable. But your actions show another truth. Humans are resourceful, compassionate, brave in quiet ways." Liam rubbed the back of his neck again, embarrassed. "I never thought of it like that." "That is exactly why it matters," the Emperor said. He extended a hand, a gesture filled with honor. "Liam Arkwright, I wish to offer you a position in the Imperial Court. As an advisor of craft and harmony, you will help bridge human engineering with Dracon design." Liam froze. His brain tried to restart like a broken engine. An advisor? He repeated softly. In your court? Yes. But I'm just an engineer. The Emperor chuckled softly. And I am just a ruler. Yet both of us can change things, little by little. Liam stared in disbelief. Your Majesty. I don't know if I'm the right person. You are, the Emperor said gently. Because you care first, and question later. That is exactly what we need. Liam took a slow breath. His heart felt full fear, excitement, and hope mixing together. But what about the toy hall incident? He asked nervously. Am I in trouble for entering without permission? The Emperor lifted a brow. You think I would punish someone for showing kindness? Well, I wasn't sure. Liam admitted. The Emperor placed a hand on his shoulder, surprisingly warm. You did not break the harmony of the hall, he said. You restored it. Liam's worry faded into relief. The Emperor's golden eyes brightened slightly. I will make the announcement soon, he said. But before that, I wish to show you something. He waved his hand, and the center of the chamber transformed. The floor turned transparent, revealing a stunning view below an enormous nursery city for young dragons. Colorful lights danced as hatchlings played, learned, and grew. They are our future, the Emperor said quietly. And today, one of them smiled because of you. Liam watched the peaceful scene with awe. I didn't do anything big, he whispered. You did, the Emperor replied. Small actions can shape great futures. For the first time since meeting the Emperor, Liam felt calm. The Emperor placed both hands behind his back. Rest tonight, he said. Tomorrow, your new path begins. Liam nodded slowly. As he left the chamber, escorted by the silent guards, he realized something important. He had not just fixed a toy, he had changed a life. And now, his own life was changing too. Liam barely slept that night. He lay in the soft guest chamber the dragons had prepared for him, staring at the glowing ceiling that shifted colors like gentle starlight. Every time he closed his eyes, he remembered the Emperor's words. Tomorrow, your new path begins. He was nervous, excited, and a little scared. He was just a human engineer from a small city on Earth. He had never dreamed of joining the court of one of the most powerful rulers in the galaxy. How did fixing a toy lead to all this? He whispered to himself. But even as he asked, his heart knew the answer. Kindness had a strange way of changing things. When morning came, a soft chime sounded, and the door to his room slid open. The guide from yesterday entered, now carrying himself with more respect than before. Good morning, Liam Arkwright, he said with a small bow. The Emperor requests your presence in the Grand Hall. Liam sat up quickly. Right now? Yes. And he has sent robes for you to wear, a symbol of your new position. Liam blinked as the guide presented neatly folded garments. They shimmered like woven sunlight. Not too bright, but warm and elegant. I don't deserve something like this, Liam said quietly. That is not for you to decide, the guide replied gently. It is the Emperor's honor to offer them. Liam dressed carefully. To his surprise, the robes were light and comfortable. The guide gave a satisfied nod. You look ready. Liam did not feel ready, but he followed anyway. The Grand Hall was more beautiful than anything Liam had seen before. The ceiling stretched high like a sky full of glowing stars. Giant sculptures of ancient dragons lined the sides of the hall, their crystal surfaces reflecting soft colors. Dragons of all sizes and ranks stood inside nobles, elders, warriors, scholars, and when Liam entered, every eye turned toward him. His stomach knotted. He swallowed hard, keeping his steps steady. The Emperor stood at the far end of the hall, on a raised platform. His golden scales glowed brightly under the light. Beside him stood the tiny hatchling from yesterday, looking excited, its tail swaying happily. When the Emperor lifted a hand, the entire hall fell silent. People of the Drakon Imperium, he began, his voice calm yet strong. Today we gather not for a ceremony of war or power, but for something far more important, harmony and understanding. Dragons listened closely. Their wings rested, their eyes focused. Yesterday, the Emperor continued, a human acted with bravery, skill, and compassion. He entered our sacred hatchling hall. Yes, without permission but not with selfish intent. He entered because a child was crying. Soft murmurs spread. Some dragons tilted their heads thoughtfully. This human did what many would hesitate to do, the Emperor said. He ignored fear and followed kindness. And in doing so, he repaired not only a toy, but a bond between our species. The hatchling chirped happily beside him, making several dragons smile. Liam Arkwright, the Emperor said, turning toward him. Step forward. Liam took a deep breath and walked to the platform. His hands felt warm, and his heart pounded. But he kept moving. When he reached the Emperor, he bowed respectfully. The Emperor spoke gently. You did not seek reward. You did not seek praise. Yet your small act has touched the heart of the Imperium. Liam opened his mouth to speak, but the Emperor raised a hand. Today, I name you Imperial Artisan Advisor, the bridge between human engineering and Dracon craft. Your duty will be to guide, to inspire, and to learn alongside us. Not through power, but through harmony. The hall brightened. Dragons whispered in amazement. Liam could barely breathe. Your Majesty, I don't know if I deserve this. The Emperor smiled warmly. That is why you do. He placed a hand on Liam's shoulder. Let this day be remembered, he said, speaking to the hall. Not as a day of grand victory, but as the day a human showed that even the smallest gift, kindness, can change the future. The hall filled with soft wing beats as dragons lowered their heads in respect. Liam's eyes widened. Dragons rarely bowed, even to each other. The hatchling hopped over to Liam and rubbed its small head against his leg. Liam gently patted it, smiling warmly. A few dragons chuckled quietly at the sight. It was unusual, but it was beautiful. The Emperor lifted his hand again. There will be challenges ahead, he said. Our species are different in many ways, but today proves we can understand each other. Work with each other. Grow together. Liam nodded slowly. I'll do my best, Your Majesty. The Emperor replied softly. Your best is already remarkable. After the ceremony, dragons gathered around Liam, some curious, some amazed, some admiring. They asked him questions about human tools, about Earth, about how he could repair something so delicate with only basic equipment. Do humans train from childhood? One dragon asked. Not really, Liam said with a shy laugh. I just practiced a lot. What drives humans to help strangers? Another asked. Liam shrugged. Because someone should. And if we can help, why not do it? His simple words surprised them. Dragons valued strength and honor, but human simplicity felt refreshing to them. The Emperor watched from a distance, smiling at how quickly Liam adapted. For the first time, humans were no longer seen as fragile visitors. They were seen as capable partners. Later that afternoon, Liam walked through the gardens of the palace. The gardens were filled with floating flowers and glowing vines that shimmered with energy. Small dragon younglings played among the plants, their laughter ringing like soft bells. The hatchling who had cried yesterday ran to him happily, its wings fluttering. Liam knelt and greeted it. Hey, little one. Feeling better today? The hatchling chirped and showed him the toy again. It sparkled in the sunlight. Still working perfectly, Liam said with a grin. The hatchling nudged him, its eyes warm and bright. You have made a friend for life, said a voice behind him. Liam turned. The Emperor stood there, hands behind his back. A powerful friend, too, the Emperor added with a gentle laugh. That hatchling is of my family line. Liam blinked. So, they're like a prince? Or princess? In human terms, yes, the Emperor replied. But to me, they are simply a child who needed comfort. And you provided that. Liam smiled quietly. Anyone would have. The Emperor shook his head slowly. No. Not anyone. Many would fear the rules. Many would step back. But you stepped forward. He looked at Liam with warm golden eyes. Remember this, Liam Arkwright. True strength is not shown only in battles or great works. Sometimes, it is shown in small acts that echo far beyond the moment. Liam nodded. I'll remember that. The Emperor placed a hand on his shoulder. Your journey with us is just beginning. There will be many things to learn. But you will not walk alone. The hatchling made a happy noise and hopped into Liam's arms, as if agreeing. Liam laughed softly. I guess I'll have company. The Emperor chuckled. Indeed, they stood together in the garden, watching young dragons play under shimmering lights. Liam felt something peaceful settle in his heart. He had come here as a visitor. He was staying as a trusted friend. And somehow, incredibly, he was now part of an alliance that would shape the future, all because he heard a child cry and decided to help. Word of Liam's kindness spread across the stars. Humans felt proud, dragons felt inspired. Other species heard the tale and spoke of Earth with more respect. Diplomatic ties strengthened, trade increased. New technologies emerged from teamwork between human and Dracon engineers. The alliance grew not from power, but from compassion. And the story of the human engineer who fixed a hatchling's toy became a legend, told around campfires, whispered in classrooms, and carved into crystal halls. A simple act, a small moment, a warm heart. That was all it took to change two worlds. And so, the tale ended where it had truly begun, not with grand battles or heroic speeches, but with a quiet truth. Humanity shines brightest when it chooses to care.